I'm on my way back from Houston on Sunday morning, back to San Antonio, and I was traveling along IH-10, which is fast and efficient. And then I decided to turn off onto Old Highway 90. I was thinking about Robert Frost's famous poem where he said, "Two roads diverged into a wood, and I took the one least traveled by, and it has made all the difference." So I decided this morning to take the road least traveled by and see what I can find. So I'm heading down to a little town called Dubina, Texas. And I think what I'm going to find down here is something I've read about and always wanted to see. That's what's called the famous painted churches of Texas. Churches that were built back in the 1800s and are still operating. And outside they look like a really nice little country church, but inside they're painted to look like European cathedrals. And I've always wanted to see them. So I didn't have anything to do this morning, so I thought I'd turn off and just see what pops up here. We'll take this little detour. Well, look at this. Well, I'll switch over to my iPhone now, so the video and the sound will probably be different. But isn't that a nice looking little church? Here's the men and women's restrooms. I'll just walk over and get a closer look. This one looks kind of interesting. Let's see what we have in here. Okay, we walk in. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Look at this beautiful country home. You just don't see homes like this anymore. Wouldn't you just love to live there? Sit out there on the front porch, have friends over, just enjoy this beautiful countryside. I think that might be the priest's home, I'm not sure. All right, I'm back on the bike, back on the road again. Well, I didn't plan to go to church this morning. So now I have a decision to make. I turn right and go back to I-10 and get back on that concrete slab and get up 75, 80 miles an hour and get back to San Antonio a little bit earlier than I expected. Or I can turn left and see what's down here. Let's turn left. Well, I see another church steeple up there. I could be coming into the little, the map said unincorporated settlement called Ammonsville. Yep, there it is, Ammonsville. Okay, let's go take a look and see what this is. And it's fun exploring. Now it's Sunday morning and there's nobody at this church. Going back on my cell phone video now. Let's walk up to the door and see if we can at least look inside this church and see if it's one of the painted churches. I kind of think it might be. St. John the Baptist Catholic Church. $18.90. Wow. Look at this. Oh my goodness. Oh my. Wow. Ammonsville, Texas. Now on the map, the next little settlement down the road here, which is going to eventually get me back to I-10, is called Swiss Alp. Now, I really want to know what kind of little town in Texas got the name Swiss Alp. These are all listed as unincorporated communities. Well, here we are back to I-10 in Schulenburg. The question is now, do I get back on I-10 or do I just go straight through and check out Schulenburg? Well, what to do? If I turn right and get back on I-10, I'll get to San Antonio faster. I'll beat the heat. If I go straight to Schulenburg, I'll lose a little time, but I'll get to see something new. Let's go straight. Now this is a lot of fun for me because about 65 years ago, yeah, I'm not exaggerating when I say it, 65 years ago, we used to take trips to San Antonio with my grandmother. We lived in Houston, and she would take us to San Antonio, and she was one of these little old gray-haired ladies. She still drove her own car, but she drove it with a death grip of both hands on the steering wheel and her head just barely sticking up above the window. But she'd drive us all the way to San Antonio, and there was no Interstate 10 back then, 65 years ago. The only way you could get to San Antonio from Houston was Highway 90, which is where I've been sort of playing around on. So I'm really retracing some of the steps now that I did as a kid 65 years ago. 65 years ago. Wow, can you believe that? As a matter of fact, one of the reasons I went to Houston was to reconnect with a neighbor who used to live across the street from us. Her name at that time was Judy Allen. And Judy was the typical little girl next door. She was the sweetest little thing, beautiful smile, beautiful face. Judy was the kind of person who would just light you up just looking at her. And I hadn't seen her for literally over 60 years. I found out from my brother that she was in Houston and they had maintained some connections, so I came in to have dinner with my brother and Judy. And we had dinner last night and I got to see her again after 60 years. And you know, she hadn't changed all that much. She's 70 years old, but she's still the same Judy, still the same beautiful smile, still the same energetic, positive attitude, sweet, kind, loving nature. And I told her I would have recognized her when she walked in, even if I hadn't been expecting her. So that was quite an event, to reconnect with my past. So now I'm riding through Schulenburg, another little Texas town right off I-10 that dried up a little bit, like all these little towns did when they built the interstate. Schulenburg used to be a regular stop when we were taking those trips with my grandmother. I remember there was a big restaurant up here. We'd always stop at that restaurant, go in and have lunch. Of course, it's gone now, but I think I've located at least the land where it used to be. I'm not sure. My memory serves me correctly, it was somewhere right along here. I remember coming up a hill like this, and it was off to the right. I can't remember the name of it now, but it was a nice place. So that's about all I've got for now. I hope you've enjoyed my little travelogue. And I hope you remember Robert Frost's poem. The next time you're faced with the dilemma of which way to go, two roads diverged into the woods. And I took the one least traveled by, and it has made all the difference. See you the next time. Don't forget to subscribe.